Alright. Let's look at this. Not many people on today. Okay, so obviously the recorder is sitting at the bottom of this board. I'm sure, right? Hey Daniel, how you doing? It's an interesting opening. Yeah. Alright, well, it is move 5, and I have absolutely no idea what's going on because I don't know this opening. I've seen the position on the left is white, but not as black, so this will actually be really interesting to see how it plays. Okay. So, let's think about some basics here. According to basics, we want to play on the most open side, which is normally the right side. And you can play a Chinese opening like this, you can enclose the corner, anything like that, right? However, white chose to play like this. In some cases, it is okay to play the second biggest side if you're reducing your opponent or playing a point that's interesting for both. In this case, if white goes here, this point is very valuable for both players. So it looks like black's a little bit better because black got the point that both players wanted. So if you're going to play a move between the top and the top side is more interesting than the bottom due to the fact that it's a shared point. Now let's look at the fact at where he played. Well, normally when you extend on the top side, you either approach a corner, you enclose a corner, which you can't do here, you would have to do here, so that doesn't work. So there's only approach a corner with moves like those, or you jump over 5, and sometimes 6. Okay, so this one jumped over 5. Sometimes when you really want to reduce a position, you can jump over 6 if you really want to reduce it. This is possible, but it looks like it might be getting too close to thickness. Normally this is done against the Shamari, not a Chinese opening. Alright, so he jumped 5. Now let's look at why it's the 4th line instead of the 3rd line, because normally if there's a black stone you want to be 3rd line for security, right? However, this is an exception, due to the fact that although our opponent will get this nice move on top here, we're playing the 4th line to deal with the influence, not just the top side. So 4th lines can help reduce influence before the influence becomes too much of a pain. So in this case, white's idea here is to extend 5 on the top side, which is a shared point for both, while reducing the influence from the 4th line. If he plays the 3rd line, black might do a shoulder hit to build the top left side into a very big position. Now for my Q player students, I would say this move is acceptable, but it looks kind of flat on top. However, for a 7-dan, playing the 3rd line is not acceptable. You have to play the 4th line here. Because black didn't secure the corner. In this case, you could do something like this, or like this, and it still looks kind of funny, but it'd be more playable. But you wouldn't really play a 4th line here because it would look kind of weird. I mean, some players might, but you can really see the impact here because black doesn't have the top left corner yet. It's still invadable. However, he's extending so far on the left that the influence is becoming really big. So this 4th line move deals with the influence while also extending 5. So that's why white played the top side instead of the right side. Alright, so those are those basics. And now he plays the bottom side. So according to basics, the right side should be the place to play right now. Maybe a wedge with something. Maybe an approach. Maybe just a wedge here. Or maybe just an approach like this. This is also fine. All of these are kind of playable. This one is probably the one I would choose. This one or this one, but I don't like this one because of the pincer. Here. Now, the right side is the most open side, so according to basics, it should be the side to play. However, at 7-dan level, they're fighting for more than just the basics. They want to develop their own position and their own style. So Eric Louis' style is apparently to build his own position first. Yeah, build his own position first and deal with his opponent's position later. So, yeah, I didn't even look at the next move. I already knew this has to be the next white move. And he extends back. So Black's playing kind of speedy right now, because he doesn't have any real territory. He maybe has 10 points of actual territory, maybe a little bit in the bottom left and the top left, but otherwise he doesn't have much territory. However, he's playing very, very fast and very quickly. So you can see that his style of go is to build his position very, very fast, rather than just playing the simple move on the right. This is an acceptable strategy, but it's difficult to pull off in your games, especially when you're a lower rank player, because it's difficult to know when your style is better than playing the biggest move. Okay, so we got 25 minutes left. So in this example, we can see Eric Louis chose to build his own position rather than invading on the right and not getting much of a position. So this is also acceptable because it looks really nice. It's a really nice looking position. So this it defies a basic, but it defies the basic due to the fact that it's developing very, very fast and very nicely. So it's hard to find these exceptions, but 7-dans are good at it. Alright, so now we can see that although the right side's getting big, the bottom left corner is obviously bigger than the top right. So remember, when you look for a big move, you look for the biggest area. The top right is a huge area, but the bottom left is obviously bigger. Now, if your opponent's area is bigger than yours, you can either reduce or invade. In this case, he chose to invade because it's behind enemy lines. We can see the enemy lines is like around this area, maybe like this. Around this area. Yeah, that's a different style though. We're just thinking about what basics are being applied and which ones are being ignored and why. Alright, so this is an invasion. So why did he invade the 4th line instead of the 3rd line? Well, this invasion is planning to use the strategy of sabaki, which means to play very loosely and lightly and get out quickly by not making yourself heavy. So if we wanted to apply the 3rd line, well, we could go here. I have no idea what it is in Korean. I learned a few Korean ones, but I didn't learn all of them. So normally you would think the 3rd line is more proper. However, in this case, we can see that White's getting a bit heavy. So maybe he doesn't want to play such a heavy strategy. He could play this type of move. Dansu, Hengma, Pei, Jongsuk. I don't know how to spell them in English. Bikiseki. Beak. And I think that's actually all the ones I learned. I might know a couple more, but I don't know. Hengma was actually really difficult. I don't know Gonma. Hengma was actually difficult to understand because it wasn't just shape, it was movement, which was really, because we don't have a word for that in English. So it was actually really difficult for me to understand. Alright, so this is another invasion he can consider, but he's going to live very small, so maybe he doesn't like that. And the last one to really consider is this one. But if you're going to invade here, you might as well invade the left because it's easier. So rather than invade and become heavy, he decided to play a sabaki strategy. Okay, and now we'll see him sabaki. Okay, or Chinuki. This is where we get into some really advanced play. Alright, so our questions are, do we have any weak groups? Yeah, we definitely do. So normally we would want a sabaki or something like this, and Black might play like this. Maybe attach to a strong stone to get our strength ourselves, and play something like this. Maybe even attach like this, we can consider it. You don't want to connect right here. That'll make you really heavy. And then black can probably just attack like this. And you're baseless. You have a lot of stones. That's not a good strategy. However, white chose, because actually this is a common, well, not really common because of the C10 stone. It's not quite as common. But white says, I know how to play. If my opponent cuts me, I know the moves to play here. I know the responses. And I think some responses just push up like this and just get out. You can still Sabaki it. So because he says, I know some Sabaki strategy here and I know some variations, because I know this position, I know I can get out and not die. I'll lose some territory for sure, because if you do stuff like this, you can still get out with some of it. I honestly don't know all the variations here. I know a couple, but I didn't study it intensely because I hate Tanukiing the shape. But yeah, I might lose some territory locally, but I'm going to get out and get some forcing moves to give myself shape. So because white knows of the variations there, he says, endgame, life and death, and direction of play. Depending on what else happens around C10. Yeah, there's a lot of variations here. We won't get into that. What I'm trying to say is the basic here that white is applying is white knows the variations that are going to go here. And he says the profit my opponent's going to get here is not as big as the top left. The top left is quite a big move. And lastly, C10 is getting cut off as well. So if black's not careful, C10 will become an issue. Of course, black's probably going to play like C13. Let's see what he plays. Game. Oh, he actually played this. Okay. So C10 actually might become a weakness for black. So you can see white's making the game very complicated now by saying, okay, I'm going to lose a little bit locally in that area, but I know some variations there. So I'm going to Tanuki, try and finish this area, and then come back to the bottom left later, while also making C10 weak. So because black is very loose, white can also try this type of loose strategy, but it's really difficult to play and apply. I wouldn't recommend this strategy to Q players until you learn all the variations in the bottom left and learn when and when not to Tanuki with that position. And also keep in mind that sometimes C10 is there, sometimes C10 is not. You gotta realize that C10 will affect the local situation, either in a good way or bad way, I'm not sure. But yeah, you have to keep track of that. Okay, so black actually plays this move. I thought he might play this move just to settle a stone. This is probably what I would play. But I'm not 7'd on. So what basic is he applying here? Actually, I don't want to answer this question due to the fact that Kim is going to, or Kim Muong is going to be talking about this later. I'm sure there's a reason behind this move, and I honestly just don't know it. Because to me, I would play here. Okay, he's doing a different game? Okay. Then I don't know what to say about this move. Okay. I don't know how to answer this move, because to me the Joseki looks good for white. I'm thinking maybe black might try to do something like this and make it difficult. And if white goes here, he can probably go like here or something. Or maybe connect, come out, then he can split. Honestly, I don't know the variations he's looking at here. White could also just exchange this and then go here. So it's actually quite difficult. So honestly, I just don't know. So let's move on. White decides to attack. Quite a powerful move. I don't want to say anything bad because these guys are stronger than me, but I'm thinking of all the basics I can to apply here, and all the basics tells me this looks a little overplay. However, The reason I can see this working is because of the stones in the lower left. If I think of the A-B stones as light and sabaki, C is a great sabaki move in combination with A or B. I'm unsure of how it'll work with D. So at first glance it seems a little bit overplay. But it does sabaki with A and B. However, it looks like it'll hurt D. So I'm honestly, again, not sure. Not sure what basic to apply here. I think there's a variation I'm missing. There has to be a variation for black I'm missing. Yeah, actually, when I was reviewing like the games from the pro exam with the Korean professionals, I reviewed the American Pro Test with some pros there, like the older ones, like the first year, and actually many of the moves played that I thought were strange or weird, the pros actually agreed with me more than the players, due to the fact that they drilled basics into me. If there's not a basic, then what are they doing? That's why I'm like, you hear me talk about basics so much. And that's why I can kind of say C feels like a little bit overplay, due to the fact that I don't see a pro player playing this unless there's a variation or reason I'm missing. Yeah, basics are quite difficult to learn because once you get to 5 Dan plus, the basics can be stretched, bent, and all but forgotten. But there's always variations to it be applied here. So honestly, I do not like C, but these guys are stronger than me. So I won't say that C is a bad move because I just don't understand it. But yeah, I said honestly again. So I'm going to say I don't understand this move, but I also don't like this move. Alright, so let's move on. C is a great move with A and B, I just don't like how it affects D. But it deals with the bottom left very nicely though. Because if you look at the sabaki in combination with A and B, I really do like that. But I just don't like how it affects D. Yeah, sabaki and reducing. So there's that. So I don't think it's the worst move in the world. I just think that there's better basics to apply. Oh, very interesting. So he decides to cut now. Okay. In my defense, when I say overplay, keep in mind that I'm talking a very, like a high Dan level overplay, meaning it's very minuscule, the mistake is. What I mean by that is there's no obvious punishment, there's no super punishment, maybe a little disadvantage for white. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it's when you got to realize 7 Dan overplays, unless you're facing a professional player, are very, very hard to punish and hard to understand why it's bad. So, yeah. So when I say overplay, I don't mean it's like super bad. I just mean it doesn't quite feel right. That's all I mean. But yeah, he's stronger than me, so I can't. I'm thinking I'm missing a variation in the top left. I just don't see a variation. So I don't want to say it's bad. I just don't like it. Alright, so now white plays here. This is an interesting move. The idea of this move is to settle this area. This will make both black and white strong since two weak groups are attaching to each other. So white's idea is to settle this area. I think this is a very good idea. The reason is black's a little bit weak and black's also getting uncomfortable, but at the same time, as soon as white settles, the left side is going to be destroyed for black. It's still acceptable for black. I'm just thinking that white's strategy here is a good way to settle this area quickly. Well, I was also thinking instead of this move, if black played this move, it's hurting the stone. Black can even think about splitting like this. And this is what I was thinking was going to happen. But black decided to go ahead and take the profit and make white heavy. Honestly, I don't think black thought about this move. Because this is a nice move. So when black cut here, I honestly think he didn't see this move, but I don't know for sure. We have about 9 minutes left before the lecture starts, so let's move on. Okay, so he decided to take his profit, and white will take his profit by attacking the stone and gaining shape over there. There's still an invasion on the bottom at h3. So there's still an invasion, there's still a reduction, and there's still this invasion. So the bottom is still quite open, but the bottom left corner is quite big. That's about 15 to 20 points down there. I'm not going to count exact right now, but white also got his profit, because now all of the white stones are working together on the left, so and the black stone's in a weird position. So white got great shape on the left now, so white's also fine. So it's hard to say who this is better for. Let me think for a sec. So black has about 32 points. White has about 20. Black's influence and white influence, there's no greater influence. The bottom area looks a little good for black, but black doesn't have any stones on the right side. But it's black's turn. I want to say black is maybe a half step or a quarter step ahead. So I want to say black is a fractional of a step ahead. I just like black a little bit better. Not a whole move better, but just black's a little bit leading right now. It's hard to explain, but I just feel like black's just a slight bit better. Really, you do? Because of Comey? But you always think white's winning if he has Comey, even if he's losing. So I want to say, oh, that's not the move. That actually surprised me because I forgot I played there. Okay, so black settles this area. Oh, there's 7.5 Comey? Wow. Maybe it's even then. If there's 7.5 Comey, I think it's even. Yeah, I forgot I clicked there. Can white Tanuki this? I think white can Tanuki this. He does. Wow. I think this is a bit small. But this is quite big locally. Locally, this is huge. Yeah, I think this is actually slow. I want to play on the right side or the bottom side. Or the top side, actually. You could even come in right here or something. Here. Here. I think this is probably what I would play. If white plays here, it's quite a lot of territory, but there's no huge profit for white. No huge attack. Did white win? Who won? White. Yeah. But this move feels a little too slow. Ryan Lee? I don't know Ryan Lee. He's like undefeated, but I honestly have never heard of him. What's his Chinese name? Yeah, I don't know Crazy One. I don't know the KGS names like everybody else does. Alright. Canadian. Like, he just came out of nowhere. I thought Eric Louis or, crap, what's the other white guy? I met him in Korea. Ben. Yeah, Ben Lockhart. I thought, those are the two guys, like, I'm familiar with that I saw in person. But, a couple other names I've heard. But Ryan Lee just came out of nowhere for me. Alright, so yeah, so now white gets the initiative. and white played a very big move on the bottom. He could also play the right, but I think this is a fine move. The bottom's quite big, so I think this is a good move. It's quite big. And also, because of the K16 stone, it's actually quite nice to destroy any influence in the center. So even if black gets thick here, I think white will be fine taking some center points. And actually, he may even get a little bit sente. Maybe black will get sente. Who knows? But I think this is quite a huge move. I don't know the exact value of this move, but it's quite big. Uh-huh. Oh, he's going to do that? White has the ladder. Don't go. Oh, what are you doing? Okay. So, I think this move, I wouldn't play it if white has the ladder, unless you're going to fight the ko. If the ko's good or not. Oh, black has some ko threats on the left. So black's aim here is to start the ko and take advantage of the ko threats on the left because white Tanuki'd, and activate the black Aji. So I'm thinking black thought this variation wasn't good enough, which I kind of agree. I think I like white a little bit here. So he's trying to make a comeback, I believe. Because honestly, after white gets this move, I think white's winning. So he's trying to find a comeback by making it complicated and probably going to start this ko. And try and get something on the left. He's also planning to lose this ko and gain profit on the left. You can tell with this move. If he plays here, then he has to win. This is the wrong way if he's going to lose to get 2 moves in a row. He's playing here so that way he can get 2 moves in a row on the left while not damaging the bottom too much. Okay. Not what I expected. But yeah, he has to settle here. Now white has a weak group. So likely I was completely wrong in his thinking. I thought he was going to attack the left side. Instead, he took the bottom right. But he wants to attack the group, but white can easily play something like this. What does he play? Oh, he just Tanukis. He thinks it's completely fine. So black takes territory. I would probably play something like this, just to help my group. But maybe he thinks this move isn't powerful. Oh, he does do that? Pincer. Oh, I called each of these moves. Alright, let's see. Jump. Oh, right, I called each of those. So I guess he's not worried about it. 15, 25. So I think Eric's actually a very territorial player. That's what I can gather from this game. But it looks like his stones aren't working together. Yeah, I want to say he's very, very territorial, but white's got quite a bit of influence. So I want to say it's even for now, but I feel like white's controlling the flow, which is kind of important. I want to say the board is even, but I like the white player's moves more. No, this is just a natural move, and then he's going to, let's see, save it with sun move. Yeah. He's not just going to give it up. So this is where we get into... Okay, so this will be the last comment, because the lecture is about to start. So you don't want to give it up. So this is where you take a lot of clock time reading, because this is starting to become an attack and defense, life and death battle. This is where we get into a lot of reading. This is where we apply all the life and death problems that we've practiced. This is where we apply that knowledge. So we have to read very carefully here. I can't read like a 7-non, so I'm going to see how it plays out. And I like white. Yep, and I like white. Okay, so obviously the game's not finished yet. I just like white a little bit better. And I'll end my comments here because there's a pro lecture about to start, and I want to let you guys get to that. So, any quick questions? Quick questions. Yeah, I like white, but white's only a little bit ahead. Like, when I say I like somebody, at this level, it's quite a small difference. You gotta realize it's probably about 3 to 5 points, which at this level is quite huge. But for Q players, it's hard to explain. To me, it's huge, and to you, it's huge that white's winning by a lot. White's in a very comfortable position. But if you were to say the value, let's say about 3 to 5 points, okay, to us that's huge, but to Q players it might not be so huge. So it's honestly really hard to come up with the right wording. So I'm just going to say white's a bit ahead. I feel comfortable as with white, and of course I'm not saying if I was white I could win because I'm obviously weaker than both of them. I'm saying I like white's position. Yeah, favorable for white. It's going to be difficult for black. It's not game over, but it's going to be difficult for black to make a comeback in this game and finish this game and win, which, as you guys said, he lost, so I can see that the board's starting to shape up a little bit better for white. But, alright, I'll end my comments there if there's no questions, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Sorry about being late and keeping this one short. I was programming, and I'm about to go right back to programming. Alright, so I will see you guys later. Have fun watching the lecture. Bye-bye!